Richie here with Statifying Football. This is your college football Week 14 Black Friday special. So there's a bunch of games on Black Friday because it's Thanksgiving weekend and they always have a bunch of games. There's like 14 games, a lot of important ones for bowl and for conference championships and for possible national rankings and all that. So let's jump into it. Miami of Ohio playing Ball State. Miami of Ohio has already clinched the MAC East division, so they will play in the MAC championship game. Ball State, unfortunately, is 4-7, so they cannot go to a bowl. Miami of Ohio won their last game against Akron, 20-17. Brett Gabbert wasn't very good, 10-21, 117, 2 picks, but Jalen Bester ran for 128 and a touchdown, and they ran for 230 as a team. Now get this, their defense had 12 sacks, and freshman Ivan Pace had 6 sacks on his own. That's right, 6. I can't do math. 6 sacks. That ties an NCAA record for a game. Ball State coming off a back and forth fun game against Kansas State that they lost though, 41-38. Plitt passed for 208, a touchdown, ran for 1. Huntley ran for 192 and 2 touchdowns. They actually ran for 330 yards, put up 538, but it wasn't enough. They allowed over 600 yards Kansas State in that loss. This should be an interesting game. Ball State clearly has a pretty good offense. Miami of Ohio is just kind of a weird team. They're decent on defense, decent on offense. I wouldn't be surprised if Ball State wins here and gets a bit of an upset. Actually, I'm gonna go. It just really depends, guys. It's hard to say. I'm kind of leaning Ball State to actually get the mini upset here. I just feel like Miami of Ohio's offense, their running game is okay, but their offense is so inconsistent, and Ball State seems to be good. So I'm gonna go Ball State actually. All right, Toledo and Central Michigan. Now this could actually be pretty significant because Central Michigan has a chance as of today, Monday, Tuesday morning, of playing in a MAC title game. Western Michigan plays on Tuesday night. If Western Michigan loses, then Central Michigan, if they can beat Toledo, they would clinch. However, if Western Michigan wins, then Western Michigan clinches. So this may not mean that much when we get into Friday, but as of now, this is a pretty significant game. Toledo's coming out. They got killed by Buffalo, which is weird. It's not too weird they lost, but they got killed 49-30. 2 quarterbacks for Toledo combined 16 of 34, 248 in a pick. They put up 402, but they just got killed. Central Michigan is coming off a bye. They had an awesome game against Ball State. They beat them 45-44. They were actually down 41-24 in the third. They came back. Dormady passed for 356 but threw a pick. Jonathan Ward ran for 105 and 4 touchdowns. They put up 495. They turned it over three times in that game, but they were able to come back for an awesome win. I'm going to go Central Michigan here. Central Michigan. Toledo, this should be pretty high scoring. Toledo's just been kind of inconsistent lately. Central Michigan has been pretty good, pretty even most of the year and doing pretty well. So I'm going to go Central Michigan. Whether they need it or not for the MAC title game, I think they at least win this game. All right, Bowling Green taking on Buffalo. Bowling Green, they got killed by Ohio 66-24. Lloyd passed for 250, a touchdown, a pick. They did run for 168 yards. They put up 418, but they turned over 5 times in that game. They can't do that against Buffalo. Buffalo destroyed Toledo 49-30. Van Treese was solid, 172 passing, a touchdown, and pick. But they ran for 331 yards. They had 2 guys go over 100 rushing yards. Jarrett Patterson, 192, 4 touchdowns. Kevin Marks, 118, and a touchdown. The defense had 4 sacks. I actually think Buffalo should be able to win this game. Bowling Green's kind of dangerous. They can put up some yards here, but I think Buffalo should be able to sneak out with that victory. All right, Kent State and Eastern Michigan. This is big for Kent State. They are 5-6. If they can beat Eastern Michigan, they will go to a bowl game. Kent had a really good win against Ball State. They beat them 41-38. Dustin Crum, 369 passing, 3 touchdowns, plus 101 rushing yards and a touchdown. Mike Kerrigan, 8 catches, 178. Isaiah McCoy, 6 catches, 159, 3 touchdowns. They put up 635 yards. Eastern Michigan killed Northern Illinois. That was the surprise to me. Not so much that they won, but that they killed them that much. They beat them 45-17. Mike Glass, 20 of 24, 235, 3 touchdowns, plus 1 rushing. Shaq Van ran for 101 and a touchdown. They put up 428. Their defense caused 4 turnovers. I expect this to be pretty close. I'm going to root for Kent State to win, but unfortunately, I think Eastern Michigan may just be a little bit better overall. Although I do expect this to be close, a shootout. Both quarterbacks have been playing really well. But I think Eastern Michigan might end up in the end getting it. All right, Texas Tech in Texas. Texas has been floundering. Unfortunately, Texas Tech can't go to a bowl. They lost to Kansas State 30-27. That eliminated them officially. Jet Duffy, 334 passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, ran for 57. R.J. Turner, 7 catches, 141 and a touchdown. They did put up 512 yards. Texas lost to Baylor 24-20. Ehlinger, 200 passing yards and a pick, plus 79 rushing. He had 9 penalties. I'm actually kind of leaning Texas Tech here. They had the losing record. Texas has just been playing badly. I mean, Texas Tech, they've had a lot of close games. They could easily have at least 6 wins, maybe 7 or so. And Texas just hasn't had it. I think Texas Tech finally comes through with it might be close, but they finally come through. I think they might be a little more motivated. Texas is, I don't know. I just believe Texas Tech is going to win, so I'm going to go there. All right, huge game in the ACC Coastal. Virginia Tech and Virginia, both 8-3, both 5-2 in the ACC. Whoever wins this game will win the Coastal Division. So it's a rivalry game, and it's for a title to go play Clemson in the ACC Championship game. Virginia Tech, second shutout in a row. They killed Pitt 28-0. Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator, he's been there for 23 years. It's nice. It was his last home game. They ended it with a shutout. Hendon Hooker, 10 of 13, 153, 2 touchdowns defense, fumble return touchdown, only allowed 177. Virginia had a nice win over Liberty, 55-27. Perkins, 199 passing, 2 touchdowns plus 1 rushing. They had 499. Defense had 3 sacks, 2 turnovers. I'm going to go with Virginia Tech here over the last month. Virginia Tech has been lights out on defense. Perkins is an awesome quarterback. He's fun to watch. He can be turnover prone. I think Virginia Tech might get on him a little bit, cause a couple of turnovers that might sway it. I think this will be a back and forth game. It should be a really exciting game, but I'm going to go Virginia Tech there to clinch that Coastal and go face Clemson for it. All right, Iowa and Nebraska. This is big for Nebraska. They are 5-6. If they can beat Iowa, if they can upset 17th ranked Iowa, at least as of now, they will go to a bowl. Iowa had a close win against Illinois, 19-10. Nate Stanley threw 8 passing and a pick. Amir Smith-Marset, 4 catches, 121. This is more of a defensive game. Defense had 3 sacks, forced 2 turnovers. The kicker, Duncan, he had 4 field goals, but he did miss 2, so it could have been even more. They could have had 25 points at least. Nebraska destroyed Maryland, 54-7. Adrian Martinez, 194 passing, 2 touchdowns, plus 94 rushing, and a touchdown. J.D. Spielman, 7 catches, 104, 2 touchdowns. He's actually 136 receiving yards away from 1,000 yards, and if he can get that, that'd go a long way to beating Iowa. Defense in that game had 6 sacks, forced 4 turnovers. They're going to need that against Iowa. This is an interesting game because Iowa's not really good on offense, but their defense is always one of the best in the country. They just win these kinds of games, just very low scoring, like 19-10 against Illinois. That's the kind of game this is. Nebraska has a really good, exciting, talented quarterback in Adrian Martinez. He's kind of injury prone. If he can play this game, I have a feeling Nebraska could pull off this upset. This is one of those games that really could go either way, despite their records. Throw that out. Throw the rankings out. Iowa plays low-scoring games, which ends up being close, which could be in Nebraska's favor. That being said, I'm going to root for Nebraska, I think, to win, just because I wanted them to get to a bowl, but I think Iowa probably edges them out. I think their defense may just cause an extra turnover here or there. Maybe it gets a field goal. Maybe they win something close, like 23-21, something kind of like that. So I'm gonna go Iowa to actually get the victory. And Missouri and Arkansas. This is interesting because Missouri's 5-6. They're 1 win away from bowl eligibility, but they're still on a bowl ban. They had some trouble in the offseason. They've been appealing it. Who knows if they can beat Arkansas? They at least be bowl eligible in terms of the win-loss record, that would make them 6-6. But we'll see what the NCAA decides with that. Missouri's coming off a 24-20 loss to Tennessee. Kelly Bryant, 166 passing and a touchdown. They only had 280 yards. However, Arkansas is pretty bad. They got killed by LSU 56-20. They had 3 quarterbacks combined for 13-28 for 190 yards and a touchdown. I think Missouri should be able to beat Arkansas. Arkansas's got a really good running back in Rakeem Boyd. He is actually running for 1,000 yards, which is nothing to sneeze at, especially in the SEC. And as bad as they are, that's all they could do, and he still does it. That being said, I think Missouri should be able to come out with a victory over here and at least give them a chance to go to a bowl game. I had a pretty big game in the American Athletic Conference. Cincinnati and Memphis, and this is big for the Group of 5 darlings. Cincinnati and Memphis are the top 2 Group of 5 ranked teams, and Cincinnati has clinched the East Division in the American Athletic. Oddly enough, Memphis has not clinched it yet. If Cincinnati beats Memphis and Navy wins their game this weekend against Houston, Navy would actually win the conference. If Memphis beats Tennessee, then Memphis would just clinch it. And then if that's the case, if Memphis wins, Memphis would face Cincinnati next week again for the title game. So there's a lot of moving parts here, both nationally relevant for because whoever is the highest ranked Group of 5 conference winner will go to a New Year's Six Bowl. So moving parts for national games and still for the conference race is open here for Navy to maybe sneak in. Cincinnati, this might be their year. They beat Temple 15-13. All right, let me explain this. Cincinnati was up 13-0. Then early in the fourth quarter, with over 10 minutes left, Temple finally scores a touchdown, makes it 13-6 on the extra point. Not only did Cincinnati block it, they return it for 2. So now it's 15-6, forcing Temple to have to score 2 more times, right? And Temple actually is able to hold Cincinnati. Temple, with just under 7 minutes left, gets a touchdown, makes it 15-13. Cincinnati goes down with 2 minutes left to try to kick a field goal to make it an 18-13 game. They miss. Now all Temple needs is a field goal to win. They got a minute and a half. They had a timeout. They get to about midfield, and then the Temple quarterback throws an interception, all because of one of the rarest plays in football, a blocked extra point conversion for 2, and that was the deciding factor in the game. If they didn't get that, they probably lose 14-13. Things could have gone a little bit differently. Maybe they make different choices in play calls, but it's just Cincinnati's had that kind of year. They beat these teams that they should beat by a lot more. And Temple's a really solid team. Temple could have won the division if they could have won that game, but it's Cincinnati's year. They were terrible passing. Ritter was 9-25, 62 yards and a pick. Michael Warren was about all they had. They ran for 106 and a touchdown. They missed the field goal, only had 210 yards, but they won. Memphis killed USF 49-10. Brady White 222, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Kenneth Gainwell 128 rushing, put up 560 on offense. Turnover twice. Defense had 4 sacks, only allowed 170. Everything's going Cincinnati's way this year. I think this ends. Memphis is really good. Cincinnati's skating by on the skin of their teeth. I think Memphis wins, and they may destroy them. So I'm going to go Memphis there. All right, Boise State and Colorado State. Boise State is ranked 20th. They're right behind Cincinnati and Memphis for that New Year's Six game. Boise State killed Utah State to clinch the Mountain West, to clinch their division to get to the Mountain West Championship game. They beat Utah State 56-21. It was 42-7 at halftime. Third string quarterback Jalen Henderson, his second straight start, 187 passing, 3 touchdown passes, plus 45. George Holani ran for 178, 2 touchdowns. Defense had 4 sacks, forced 2 turnovers, including a pick 6. Colorado State lost a close game to Wyoming 17-7. O'Brien 217, 1 touchdown, a pick. Owen 265. Defense had 5 sacks. Emmanuel Jones had 3 of them. Colorado State actually, Wyoming has a really good defense, but Colorado State has one of the better passing games in the country. They could put a snare in Boise State and get a possible upset, which would be huge for the national rankings. I don't really think this will happen, but this could be a shootout, and I expect Boise State to be able to win. All right, Washington State had one of the best games against Oregon State. This is why I like college football. They were up by 10, and then in the fourth quarter, Oregon State scores, gets an onside kick, scores, gets a pick, scores. Then they're up by 11 with like 4 minutes left. Then Washington State scores, holds Oregon State, and they score with 2 seconds left to win 54-53. Anthony Gordon, 606 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He now holds a Pac-12 record with 45 touchdowns, and he's got 2 games left in the year. The Apple Cup here against Washington in a bowl game. Renard Bell, 8 catches, 108, 2 touchdowns. They put up 641, but they turn over 5 times. They can't do that against Washington. However, Washington was kind of upset themselves to Colorado. They lost 20-14, easing 206, a touchdown, a pick. They only ran for 32 yards. They allowed 5 sacks and only put up 238 yards. I think Washington State might win this game. Washington State's offense is humming. Washington, their offense has been pretty bad the last few games. This might be one that goes Washington State's way. It's possible this could be a shootout, but I'm going to go Cougars here. All right, West Virginia and TCU. Big for TCU. They are 5-6. If they can get this win, this will make them bowl eligible. However, West Virginia, the last 2 games, have played well under Jarrett Doege. I called it early in the year. I don't know if I said it here. I'm telling people Doege was a transfer from Bowling Green. I thought he would have started all season. He could have really helped them. But the last 2 games, they upset, I think, Kansas State last week with him passing for like 300 yards. And they almost beat Oklahoma State. They lost to 20-13, but he passed for 307 and a touchdown. The defense had 3 sacks in that game, but they did end up losing. TCU almost pulled a shocker against Oklahoma. They lost 28-24. Max Duggan, not great passing, 7-21, 65 yards and a pick, but he ran for 92 and a touchdown. And they forced 3 turnovers, had a pick 6 in that game. This close, they had it about midfield late in the game and just weren't able to get it. This might be high scoring, especially with Doege playing as well as he is. TCU might have their hands full here. I kind of want TCU. I have a feeling West Virginia might pull this off, but I'm gonna go TCU here. Max Duggan, I think, finally, he's a freshman. He's had his up and downs, but he's athletic as hell. So I think TCU may just sneak into a bowl with a win here. All right, Arkansas State taking on South Alabama. Arkansas State beat Georgia Southern. Nice win for them, 38-33. Lane Hatcher, 354 passing, 4 touchdowns. Jonathan Adams, 7 catches, 158, 2 picks, or 2 touchdowns. My bad. Omar Bayless, 7 catches, 113, and a touchdown. The defense had 6 sacks, and they had a kick return for a touchdown. South Alabama kept it kind of close against Georgia State, but lost 28-15. Desmond Trotter, not great completion percentage, 12-25, but he made him count. For 218, 2 touchdowns, a pick, ran for 37. They actually put up 326 yards, but they turned it over twice. Kind of notable, the running back Trey Mentor. Since they can't go to a bowl game, I like when players can get 1,000 rushing yards or 1,000 receiving. Trey Mentor, he's at 951 right now, so if he can get to 49, which he's very capable of doing, he will at least hit 1,000 yards, and it would be a nice season for him. And a tumultuous one for South Alabama. I think Arkansas should get the win here. And maybe not blow them out because South Alabama seems to stay in the games, but Arkansas State should be able to win. All right, Appalachian State and Troy. This is a big one kind of for both teams. Appalachian State is going to go to Sun Belt Championship game, but Appalachian State is a ranked team in a group of 5. They're in the running for that New Year's 6-day game. Troy's 5-6. They need to win to get to a bowl. They're going to be extra motivated. If they can get this big upset, this would knock Appalachian State out of the running for that New Year's 6 bowl, and Troy would get to a bowl game. I'm not sure that's going to happen because they got killed by Louisiana Lafayette, who clinched the other side of the Sun Belt. They're going to face Appalachian State in the Sun Belt title game, but they got killed by Louisiana Lafayette 53-3. Caleb Barker, the quarterback for Troy, was only 15-32, 178, 2 picks. They did run for 156, so they might need to do that. Try to do that against App State. They turn over 3 times though. I'm just gonna shout this out. TK Billingsley, the running back, he's only 113 rushing yards from 1,000, and Kalen Geiger is 154 receiving away from 1,000. Both capable of doing that. Troy has a pretty decent offense most of the time, but App State has one of the best defenses in the country. if they get that for Troy, those two guys especially, even if one of them, they may be pulling off an upset. Both of them, it should be a win for Troy. That being said, I don't think either of them actually will get it. App State's coming off a decent victory against Texas State, 35-13. Zach Thomas, 174 passing, 2 touchdowns, 28 rushing yards. Darrington Evans, one of the best running backs in the country, in my opinion, ran for 154, 3 touchdowns. Defense had 3 sacks and only allowed 208. And I think App State should get the win, get that win there. All right, then the final game, the primetime 8 o'clock game on Friday night, Black Friday, is the War on I-4, South Florida Bulls and UCF Knights. USF has not had a really good year. They got killed by Memphis 49-10. The only positive was Kelly Joyner ran for 115. Defense had 2 turnovers. UCF, unfortunately, they're not going to go to the American Athletic Championship game. However, they were able to beat Tulane 34-31. Dylan Gabriel 317 and a touchdown. Marlon Williams 119 receiving and a touchdown. Defense had 4 sacks in this game. UCF at least has a chance to finish off strong. Maybe finish with a 10-win season in a kind of a down year for them. Their 3 losses were only by 7 total points, so they're still a good team. I expect UCF should be able to win this game. This is a big rivalry. Jordan McLeod's a really good quarterback for South Florida, coming into his own this freshman year. He's going to put some points up. This may be kind of a shootout. It's kind of an interesting look at the future. Jordan McLeod, a freshman at USF, and Dylan Gabriel, a freshman at UCF. They're probably going to start maybe over the next few years. Milton might be back for UCF next year, but after that it should be Gabriel's show. And USF should have McLeod for the next three years, based on the way things are going. That being said, I think UCF should get the victory here. All right, those are the Black Friday special games. Check out for all the rest of the Saturday games. A lot of big, huge national and conference races there. And check out my NFL picks. Peace.